I just realized right now that market's closed on Monday. I didn't realize that Monday was Martin Luther King Day. Not sure if you all knew that or not. Market is closed on Monday. Just in time for this huge snowstorm to keep coming through, which is awesome. All right, let me do the disclosure. I'm an associate member of T3 Trading Group, which is an SEC registered broker dealer and member of FINRA SIPC. All of my trades are placed through T3 Trading Group. You should carefully consider whether trading is suitable for you in light of your own financial condition. There's the position disclosure. It's the exact same as yesterday. I got into and out of a bunch of positions today. Actually kind of traded like a maniac today. I traded more than double what is probably my average trading volume in a given day. Granted, a lot of that went to these couple low float names that I was trying to trade this morning with Josh that I ended up really not making or losing anything on for the most part. I made small amounts of money in them. CMND and LAES. They were just tough trades. Didn't really give that type of low float follow through that you want, where the stock is up 20% and then it's up 120%. Those things are always a gamble as far as I'm concerned, and I find that I don't really make money necessarily big picture on them. I don't know. Yes, CMND. I did kick some stock up there, Dimitri, in that upper 50s, mid 60s area, which was a good sale for me. That's the one that I ended up making more money in than LAES, though. Traded a lot of it. Also traded a lot of Mara today. I got back into some Apple, but I liquidated that position by the close. I got back into some Snap, but I liquidated that by the close. So most of the same stuff. The question today was, can the market give follow through? So two trading sessions ago was a big up day, potentially confirming a pivot low for the market. Yesterday was a rest day, which we described in yesterday's afternoon as not necessarily a bullish rest day. Technically, it looks good for the indices, but not necessarily a bullish rest day because the participation was so poor. The IWM was red. It really just seemed like it was all big cap tech that gave any continuation yesterday, and the IWM was pretty weak. Generally, after a really big candle like we had two days ago, I don't really want to see if momentum is going to hold the next day. The market lose too much more than like 50%-ish of the previous day's candle. And again, obviously the SPYs and the Qs didn't even give an inside day. The SPYs were able to just barely tick above that high from the day before. The Qs were where the strength was because it was really a Magnificent Seven type of trading session. But the IWM was weak, it was red. RSP was down compared to SPY. And today was honestly kind of similar. At the end of the day here, we got the SPY up 0.55%. We got the Qs up 0.72%, not bad. But this IWM is basically flat. Or you can look at the SPY up 0.5% versus RSP, which is up 0.1%, to show that, once again, even though all of these indices are in the green, really this RSP is basically flat. The IWM is basically flat, and it was once again kind of a Magnificent Seven type of trading day that pushed the Qs up and had them outperform. So if you look at the IWM, which is what I still have up right now, you hardly even really have much confirmation of this attempt at a pivot low from a couple trading sessions ago. Without a doubt, that candle on Monday is a beautiful looking candle, and we want to see if that can create the pivot to give follow through, but no follow through to be had yet. And really, to confirm this to be a true pivot low of an uptrend, you have to have a new high come in, and we're still probably 5% away from the recent high. With that said, if you look at the SPYs, on the other hand, not only did they give that pivot, Friday of last week, got the follow through on Monday, but they got, I think, 10 cents away from making a new high today. This pivot high, the absolute pivot high from our recent uptrend here, is on December 28th, and that high is 477 spot 55, and today's intraday high is 10 cents away from that. So basically 10 cents away from making a new high in the SPYs, which would certainly confirm this pivot low as being the low of the uptrend. IWM nowhere close, and the Qs are kind of somewhere in the middle because the Qs have given like a really nice looking potential pivot here, several upside days, a lot of relative strength, more follow through today, but the Qs had also pulled back by a much larger degree than the SPYs actually did. So even though you've got a really good looking bounce here from the Qs, you're still decently far away from getting the confirmation of the new high. That QQQ high is basically $413, just under it, and today we got up to like 409.50. So we're still $3.50 away in the Qs from making a new high, which would confirm the pivot. CPI is tomorrow morning, so if the CPI comes out and it's bullish for equity markets, we could easily get there tomorrow. Or if the CPI comes out and it's bearish for equity markets, you could easily see a failure in the IWM, especially because it's just been weak within the confines of this bounce compared to the SPYs and Qs, where the Russell is actually breaking below the low from a couple trading sessions ago. So no idea what's going to happen with the CPI tomorrow, and even if I did, I couldn't tell you for certain how the market was actually going to react to it. I just think that we all need to know our key levels for the market going into the CPI, and then we can more or less take it as it comes. So I guess that's where we're at with the indices. Again, good follow through that mainly came from big cap tech, which I actually didn't like the idea of chasing big cap tech higher today because I felt like with a lot of these names, I was chasing a day 3 or 4 or 5, depending on which one you were looking at. Or for other ones like Apple, which has been weaker, it was just snapping back into the moving averages here for the first time. That also makes it a tricky buy. With that said, we did discuss in the morning meeting that if you wanted to push it, you could try to buy the inside day and up. Though again, you're buying an inside day up in something that's been weaker right into equilibrium. It's usually not the best trade in the world. Or you could try to buy, some of the breakouts like we talked about, potentially buying this 360 area breakout for Meta. It's just, I think it's a tricky trade right in front of CPI when you're kind of chasing that price action a little bit. But if you went after it, Meta certainly wasn't that bad on a breakout. Microsoft finally broke out. We were looking at that 375 to 377 level in December for what seemed like weeks, and then obviously with the market weakness in the beginning of January, it pulled back but still held the 365 area support, and then today actually gave a beautiful breakout back to highs. So Meta breakout worked really well. Microsoft breakout worked really well. I just wasn't really overly focused on these names. Amazon, here's an example as well. Amazon gave solid follow through, but if you really tried to buy it today, if you were buying that relative strength, you're kind of buying like a day 3, day 4 to the upside. And I just think that that's a tricky trade. The ideal situation is that you are already in some of these positions. Like if you look at NVIDIA, again as an example, it made another new high today. But you can't come in and buy NVIDIA today, in my opinion, even though we saw a ton of large order option flow on the bull side of the market. A lot of that was priced at like $650, though decently dated, that can help to push the stock even higher. Very difficult to say, all right, today's the day at $543 that I'm going to come in and I'm going to buy NVIDIA for continuation when this thing just ripped from 475 basically to 545 over the course of a handful of days. It's just very hard, I think, to chase that price action. But if you already have the position in it from better pricing, then you just continue to manage your position, follow your game plan, and continue to get paid on that continuation. So that's kind of where big cap tech was. That was the majority of the strength. I wanted to see if we could get strength and growth today, but we didn't get it really. It was maybe mixed success. You had names like Unity, though this eventually rolled over when it got hit with the news that the executives were leaving. That was trading really strong, bouncing back really well and negating yesterday. You had Palantir, which was tricky off the open, but eventually rounded up with the inside day and up and gave some follow through. But then you had, other ones like a Peloton that was breaking yesterday's low and kind of doing kind of doing nothing or being difficult. Some of these other ones, like your Upstart, Affirm, SoFi, were just absolutely all over the place, giving these big intraday V bottoms, which is actually what the IWM did at lows as well. We've seen this a lot from the IWM. Look, as I'm seeing it in my charts, we even saw it yesterday. I feel like we've seen this a lot recently, where you get IWM weakness in the beginning of the day for 15 or 20 minutes while the SPYs and Qs hold up, and then you get the pivot low that's a V bottom intraday that really has oftentimes turned into a reversal, even if it doesn't lead to any absolute follow through. So that's what happened in the IWM again today. Weakness in the beginning of the day, V bottom. I wouldn't say that the IWM was great. It wasn't even relatively strong, but certainly didn't give any downside follow through. It was difficult not to be worried at lows today when the IWM was actually breaking its inside day to the downside, kind of the opposite of the message that we're getting from the SPYs and the Qs. So that's some of the big picture stuff. Again, individual names, I churned a bunch of those low float stocks a lot today. Traded a lot of this Mara, had a pretty good call out off the pivot low for Coin, Mara, and Riot. I think a couple of you guys took this in Coin, which was a nice trade off the extension hammer on high volume confirmation there for a counter trend trade. I did similar with Mara off lows. I bought a bunch of stock in that $24 area, liquidated the vast majority of it, honestly, by the 80 MA on the 5-minute, but held some to continue to piece out all the way to as high as $27. And then I liquidated it, and then I was like, you know what? I'm done with this. I'm done with this crypto crap. I'm so sick of all this stuff that's going on with the SEC, with the Twitter hacking yesterday. It's approved, it's not approved. Every 5 minutes, it's approved, it's not approved. We don't even know if it's a sell the news event or what. The whole thing to me is an oxymoron, that you've created this cryptocurrency that's supposed to be anti-establishment, and then the biggest thing that's moving it over the course of the last couple months now has just been, is there going to be an ETF? Can we bring crypto and DeFi into traditional finance? I don't know. I'm so sick of hearing about it, to be totally honest. I say that as instantly trading it after hours yesterday, instantly trading it this morning, and then scalping it into the close to see if I could make a few dollars as the announcement is hitting. So I guess becoming a grumpy old man. I don't know what else to say about it. I don't fit in with the cool young kids in the same way that I used to. Don't understand crypto. Totally don't get it. And honestly, all this stuff is just making me really dislike it, and it makes less and less sense day after day. But whatever, I'll stop being a grumpy old man. I was able to make a couple dollars in it, so I shouldn't be that grumpy. And I even was able to make a couple dollars with that scalp into the close. But I kind of just want to be done with this stuff. I need to not type it up anymore. I could see Mara in the 40s. I could see Mara back at $12. I don't want to be stuck one day the wrong way. And I almost got stuck after hours yesterday, and took a loss after hours yesterday, because when that news hit, I was trading it to the long side and trading it well. And then when that news actually hit that the post was fake, that thing dropped $1 so fast. I had a spot where I was planning on manually hitting out because there's no stop losses after hours, and I was like trying to do the meeting at the same time. Instantly, it was $1 past my stop loss, and I was trying to manage that, but I'm not really allowed to talk about what I'm trading while I'm on YouTube, so I couldn't really be like, oh my god, I'm stuck. Screw you guys, I can't do this meeting anymore. It was, let me try to manage this position and make the most out of it while I'm still chatting. And then next thing I know, I'm trying to close out my Mara position, and I'm looking out my window here, and a pickup truck rolls up in the middle of a storm, and 3 guys get out with their rifles, and I have no idea what's going on. What is this crazy world that I'm living in right now? Like Pat said, maybe we really are in the Matrix. So that's it. That's really all I got for you guys today. We got some follow through from the market, which is what we were looking for. There was the technical setup for that to occur, though it seems like it kind of did it with, poor leadership again. It was just kind of these big cap tech stocks. CPI tomorrow. will certainly create some movement. Maybe it creates trend continuation on the big picture. Maybe it creates trend reversal. Only time will tell. And I think that's all I got. I don't really have a whole lot to talk about today, even though I traded a lot. But if anybody has any questions, I am certainly happy to answer those questions. So, cool. Yeah, so it does look like, what the heck? So Pat here saying the SEC posts order approving the Bitcoin ETFs, and then it disappears from the website. Bill K posted a link on here to Eric Balchunas, who is definitely legit. And there is a filing he screen shared before the site went down. This is just insane. Just insane. Yeah, so if anybody has any questions, happy to field them. From Kevin G in YouTube. Here to show my gratitude. Biggest P&L in a very long time. Awesome, I love it. I love it. I've started really zoning in on the market dynamics plus big movers. IWM stalled at lows. NVIDIA SPYs and Qs showed a strong signal. At around 10 a.m. as Apple pushed above the VWAP at the same time. From there, it was smooth sailing. Took some chop with the mini reversals, but the thesis worked out well. Thank you. Awesome, Kevin. Awesome, Kevin. Really glad to hear that you're getting a lot out of our meetings and everything, and that it's helping your trading, and that you are posting some good P&L. So congrats on your biggest day in a very long time. Love to see it. Love to see it. Now Pat here just posting the SEC approves Bitcoin ETF proposals on an accelerated basis. Okay, whatever. Anybody else have any questions, guys? Otherwise, it's going to be a pretty fast meeting. I really do think that the best afternoon meetings really are a result of the questions that you guys have on a day-to-day basis, which I understand sometimes maybe you have it all figured out and you got no new questions. But if you have any, put them in there or forever hold your peace. I got a lot of snow to shovel, so I don't mind getting to work a little bit early on that. A lot of snow to shovel. It's insane. It's still snowing here. It hasn't stopped. But that means it's going to be an awesome 3-day weekend. Which again, it's a 3-day weekend. I just realized that Monday was Martin Luther King Day, so markets are closed on Monday. So going to be a lot of freshies out there. All right. Well, no one's posting anything. Couple things sneaking in onto YouTube. From Cyril, today the IWM is holding, but it's weaker. Yeah, yesterday too. We're still consolidating ahead of tomorrow's data. Yep. So seems more like a statement than a question. Absolutely accurate. And that was the big thing that I was saying this morning in the morning meeting was technically we're set up for continuation for today's trading session, but I wouldn't be surprised if it's really just more of a consolidation type of day because people don't want to place any bets. And in some ways, we've got a little bit of both. We did get some continuation with the SPYs and the Qs, led by the Mag 7, but there was also a lot of consolidation out there and poor participation. So we'll see what happens tomorrow. Do you think for tomorrow... I always get this weird thing that shows up when I'm trying to read the YouTube, or I can't read that one line. Do you think for tomorrow, then you're saying something can help push the speculative plays? Yeah, I mean, wait and see, right? We have to see how the number comes out, how it reacts to it. I think that if the market rallies tomorrow because the number comes in light, then the IWM will actually probably lead that on CPI. That's my general thought process. I think small caps and mid caps will lead if the number comes in light. I'm really uncertain on what would happen on an inline number. I would assume an inline number means that the market just moves in the direction of the way that it's already trending, which is higher. And then if we come in hot or really hot, it could derail the rally. Grayscale Investments receives SEC approval to uplist Grayscale Bitcoin Trust to NYSE ARCA as a spot Bitcoin ETF. I really don't want to ever trade that one because I don't like grayscale. So hopefully they approve something else and I'll trade something else. Anything else, guys? All right, gang. I'm going to wrap it up then. Have a fantastic night. I'll see you all tomorrow morning.